looking ahead to next weekend's. We'll be talking to Braehead clan coach Ryan Finity very, very shortly. And we'll also be looking at the situation in Cardiff, and we'll have new correspondents who are looking at games over the weekend, and we'll have a review of the Blaze Webcast from Sunday. But first, as promised, is Braehead clan coach Ryan Finity, who we spoke to straight after the game on Saturday night. Joined by Braehead clan coach Ryan Finity. Ryan, 4-2. Do you feel you should have got something out of that game?
I thought we created enough. We had some chances. I thought it was a pretty even game. Every time we made a mistake, it ended up in the back of our net, and we paid for it. But overall, I'm happy with our guys' performance tonight. And we had some chances. Kowalski made some big saves and a couple bounces either way, and it could have been a different game. But frustrated at a few of the turnovers we gave them, and the goals in the last 5 minutes always kill you. I thought our power play looked good tonight, but saved us going in 3-1. We were going 3-2, had a bit of life, but that's a good hockey team we faced tonight, and you learn pretty quick. If you make mistakes, especially in this conference, you end up paying for them. So hopefully we take the positives out of this and move on. It would be nice if we had a game tomorrow to correct it, but we'll get back to the drawing board this week and try to improve.
How difficult has it been sort of since the first week of the season? Because you played at home first weekend of the season. Now you have 4 or 5 weeks completely on the road. Has that been tricky?
Yeah, I mean it's been tough. Obviously, being away from home, it's been tough not skating in our home rink. It doesn't feel like home at all. We've skated in Edinburgh more than we have in Braehead. So this week will be nice to get back home. We finally get in our rink, hopefully Wednesday, and get familiar with our surroundings, and hopefully, like I said, build a bit of a homestand here. And it's been a long 4 weeks, but make no excuses. I think our guys have battled. We've got some great results in some tough buildings, and unfortunately tonight wasn't our night.
Just talking about are there many differences between sort of coaching in Sheffield, coaching at Braehead? Is the a little less pressure the same, or is it just a different kind of pressure?
I think you find yourself you're able to coach. And the pressure in Sheffield, as everybody can see, and sometimes it doesn't allow you to coach. It just allows you to panic, and you forget about what your job is. And in Braehead here, obviously we put that pressure on ourselves. I don't like the fact that people say there's no pressure, because then I think it gives you an excuse to lose. And we've had meetings about that in Braehead. We want to be an elite team. We want to think like an elite team, and we want to be treated as an elite team by everybody. And I think that starts from the ground up. And we don't make any excuses. When we lose, we get to the drawing board. I'm enjoying my coaching in Braehead a lot more. The support's amazing. And so far, it's early in the season. I'm getting a great response from my guys. I think we got a team that hopefully will get better and better as the season goes on. But we like tonight, we made some mistakes and it cost us. But I felt on another night we might have stole some points here. A couple of those chances go in, and Mooner has a chance back door. We miss it, they go down and score. And it's one of those nights. But that's Nottingham. Nottingham, they're so offensive, and Corey's so tough to coach against because he changes his breakup out. They're so well drilled that you got to be on your toes and be ready to react. And if you make mistakes, they'll make you pay. Their transition game's the best in the league, and we unfortunately made a few too many mistakes today, and it cost us.
Ryan, thanks for your time as always, and safe journey back.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
The thoughts of Braehead clan head coach Ryan Finity there about Saturday's game and the defeat to the Panthers, 4-2. As ever, Aaron and Paul are with me to review all the action from the weekend. Are you all right, gents?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Yourself?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Thank you very much, first of all, to Gary Dinsdale, Panthers fan, who's managed to arrange some brand new audio equipment for us. So
thank you very much.
Cheers, Gazza.
Microphones, we really do appreciate it, and it
And
means I don't have to keep doing this all the time now.
But we've got to stop muttering things under our breath.
Yeah, well,
Very true.
anyway, so
Amateurs.
back to Ryan Finity's interview, and I think a very telling comment there about how he's enjoying his coaching much more this season at Braehead.
I think it's a change of pressure, isn't it? He went into Sheffield, a club he'd played for, a club you hated him at, frankly.
That's
Yeah.
true.
But and everybody was expecting him to do well. Well, everybody was, Sheffield fans were expecting him to do everything. That's normal.
To be fair, they didn't do too bad though. I mean, he got a second place finish, a third place finish, Challenge Cup final. Okay, didn't do so well in the playoffs, but most other teams would be happy with that sort of record.
Yeah, very true. I mean, I think, to be fair, whoever was Sheffield's coach, they expect you to win. It doesn't matter whether you could have won 17 Elite League titles and you could have won no Elite League titles. The expectation is still the same. So, but I agree with what Paul's saying in the fact that it is a different level of pressure, and I also agree with what you're saying. He didn't do that badly.
No.
I think the things with the playoffs, though, they're such a major part of our sport over here that they don't get glossed over, unfortunately. They are brought up, but I think like I've mentioned on previous, I really do believe he has learnt so much from the experience of Sheffield and how he left Sheffield as well. I think he's learnt so much from that as well. You only have to go back to the interview that he did with Seth Bennett after the clan played Sheffield at Sheffield, and you can just tell in his voice that he has changed a little bit, and he has learnt from that, and I think you see that in how Clan are set up this season. And it seems as if they are a team and that are willing to play for him, and I think that is a major. That's not a small thing. That is a major thing. You have to have your players playing for you, and I think you can see that, and I think you saw that in the game on Saturday night as well.
You did, yeah. I mean, they looked for most of the game like an organised team that had done their homework on us.
Yeah.
They know we like to get the puck moving across the crease, and the number of times they got a player in front to just knock it away. So I mean, okay, like Finner said, the things that lost him were the individual mistakes, and that's going to come from a young team, but he's got a team that's playing for him, I think, and they look a good side. I mean, it wasn't a classic game. It was a bit, despite us talking about how controlled they looked and how well drilled, it was a bit chaotic.
It wasn't a classic, but I thought I disagree with a lot of people on the cage, especially saying it was a lacklustre game. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, there were only a few moments of real quality. Rob Lakovic's goal.
Oh God, yeah.
It was made by the pass from Salford.
I think Nathan Moon's goal that he scored, the Braehead's first, where he just ripped it. He's a good player. He is. I liked him. And is it Scott Arson?
Scott Arson.
Yeah. Great.
He was about all night, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think as well, they're going back to Paul's comments about the individual mistakes.
Yeah.
That's the difference, though, isn't it? That's the difference between winning a game and losing a game.
And Finner said that. I mean, and the thing is, if you look at two of the goals we scored were neutral zone turnovers that we went and scored, and then I think the final goal, Matt Ryan's goal, where he was just left all alone on the blue line.
So they'd gone for a line change and
just messed it up.
Yeah, and it was just a great pass up the ice, and he was in practically on his own.
They're a good side though, the Clan this season. I think they are and he's building a good solid
They'll do
foundation.
well.
They're the best
They won a
side.
trophy.
This is true.
And they're the best side I think I've seen down here so far this season. Certainly the most organised I've seen, without a doubt.
No, I agree. To be fair, and I think again, I'll just say I think you have to give fair credit to the coach. Because organisation, that's something that a coach drills into his team and gets them set up correctly. And I think, talking about Finity learning from the past, I think he's learned, a lot about the Panthers, because obviously over the last couple of seasons he's played the Panthers more than, than probably anybody else, hasn't he? So, he's going to have learned a lot about them, and I think you saw that on Saturday night, and they'll be there or thereabouts.
But that's the sign of good coaching, looking at the people you're going to be playing, and hopefully not learning too much about it.
Very true.
It's Panther-centric. We've always said it, and seeing how you can stop them.
Very Very true.
Right. Okay, well, we'll move on to a few of the other games in the Elite League. Something else new for you this week.
Is this not it? I thought it was just these.
No,
Two?
Two new things.
Two new things?
Now,
what are we going to do next week?
That's a good idea, that.
Well,
what are we going to do?
We'll probably get someone else to do the show, to be fair. It's going that way.
It's not a bad idea.
Anyway, we have now got a couple of correspondents who are reporting for us from games, saves us, who, let's face it, haven't gone to all the Elite League games, so we thought we'd try and get people in who have been to the games and they can talk about it. So, a couple of videos for you now. First off, we've got Sean Phillips, who is our Cardiff Devils correspondent. He'll be reporting on the Devils versus Giants game from Saturday. And then a familiar face will be describing the also quiet game of Hull versus Stars.
Yeah, nothing happened there.
I think the Giants deserved the win, most definitely. They were the better side. They played a good road game. Murphy was outstanding, but a lot of the shots that we took were straight to him. Our shot choices were very poor. I don't think the Devils were as bad as everyone's given them, the stick for. But Dan Lacosta made some great saves, probably kept us in the game. As I said, he probably would in my season preview. I think 4-1 is a bit of a rash scoreline. I think the empty net goal, it makes it look like a drubbing when it really wasn't. 3-1 would have been a fair scoreline. In that Belfast definitely dominated the game, but didn't quite make us look that poor. We just weren't our usual selves. It was a bit of a disappointment after last week's victory at Sheffield, but hopefully upwards and onwards, and we'll get the win on Sunday night against Edinburgh, which you guys will know about before I do. So go Devils!
I'm here to talk about the game between Hull and Dundee, which Dundee won 2-1. Dundee took the lead through a decent Palestrone goal, and then doubled the lead on a shot that went sort of cross bounds. And then Hull pulled one back through Tendler. That's the point everyone wants to hear about. Sacchetti bordered Campbell behind Dundee goal. And it wasn't that bad of a hit. It was forceful, but not that bad. But Smith steers in and grabs Sacchetti. Silverthorne then comes in for third man in, which he got kicked out for. Campbell also got kicked out for excessive roughness, and Campbell was the first to go off, and then Silverthorne, and then Sacchetti got kicked out for his 5+ game for boarding, and then you saw who I initially thought was a fan at first go for Sacchetti, who it later turned out to be Campbell, and I think he'll probably get a big ban for that. But all in all, it was a good win for Dundee on the road, and Bacala played well, making some good saves. Kept him in it.
So the thoughts of our old mate, the student, Sam Balm there? He seems to be getting on all right up at all.
It's good to see you.
I forgot about him already.
Give him a minute. But in all seriousness, it was interesting what Sam said, which was exactly the same as what Jonathan Finnerty said on the commentary as well. They thought initially it was a fan that was causing the incident behind the goal. It turns out it's Derek Campbell. It wasn't that bad a hit, I don't think, from the footage that I've seen. But I've seen a lot worse. Saw worse on Sunday with that Chris Murray one, but we'll come on to that later.
Yeah. But how much of it is about the hit? How much of it is about Campbell?
True.
Being Campbell, and we've seen it before. The red mist. We saw a game. I think it was against Cardiff in Coventry, where he ended up stamping on one of the opposite stick.
Yeah, I remember that,
I'd just have sent him the bill. Frankly, don't like to mine.
The thing is, as we record this, we don't know what ban he's got. So apologies if this comes out and the length of the ban has been released. But
could be like a couple of weeks ago when we got.
I'll check as soon as we finish this. I'll check.
Well, what do you reckon? I mean, let's put a figure on it.
Jeez. How can you do that after this season so far?
We got a dice.
Well, attacking RF got 6 games. So
I saw where Sam was saying by the letter of the law it's 4 games. One for making a travesty of the game.
Yes.
And one for not going straight
to the dressing room, which I think is what happened in Cardiff last season. Yeah.
But by the same token, he's also been involved in some altercation. It's not just him not going to the dressing room.
He's like
He's had to go halfway across. You know, he's had to go from one side of the ring to the other.
to get involved.
Yeah.
That's what amazes me though. Why? You can see that's going. That's obviously leading somewhere, though, isn't
how.
it? Yeah.
Is it how did he get there?
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
He's obviously not going to get a glass of Coke.
But look at it this way: if you see a hockey player walking around with steam coming out of his ears, are you going to get in his way and stop him?
Well, you watch that video, and it looks like there are people getting involved. You can't really see.
I wouldn't like to say one way or the other.
Do that though. Come on,
I know
you're a professional.
I
You
know
are
you
a
can't do it.
professional sportsman.
As soon as you leave, if you've still got frustrations, they can't do it in the dressing room.
Go and smash a door or something. Go and break a stick or whatever. But it's embarrassing from Stingrays' point of view.
Yeah.
Well, from a league point of view,
but that's why I think if Hull have come out and said he'll get what he will get, and we'll review it after that.
Yeah. And talking about it being embarrassing, don't forget Hull had got a big push on that weekend to get freshers in, students, who are doing it there for the first week. Don't know how well it worked, but they're bringing new people in, and that's what happens. Don't look good for
the students. I'm sure the students probably love.
Well, yeah, he probably did. He's used to it, but
True.
not everyone that would have turned up would have been to as many games as he has.
Okay, I think we'll draw a line on the Campbell.
Well, no, how many games do you think? Go on, you said put a number on it.
8, I reckon.
8.
I reckon he'll get 8.
I'll go for 6.
Martin,
he's going for a run
at the moment. I'm going to go over 10.
No chance.
I'll be wrong, but that's what I would give. Well, I don't know actually. To be honest, I would have gave more than 6 for the other incident that we talked about for a little bit.
Don't go off on that one.
But no, I think just quickly, I think the problem is that with Campbell, right? You mentioned red mist and all that.
You know what you're getting, don't you?
You know what you're going to get, but can you afford to have players like that in your team?
But it's like we've said before.
That's what I'd say.
Gary Moran said it at the start of the season. Last season we had that edge with Kelsey Wilson. You never knew what he was going to do.
But this having the edge, but you also know that Campbell too often has gone beyond that edge, and you know how the officials have dealt with that before. It's like a couple of seasons ago, Brad Voth. Cardiff fans were forever saying he was a marked man, and they possibly got a point. So why do you keep him? Why do you not go and get a player? Much as they love Brad Voth, why do they not go and get a player who can come in and play with that edge, who hasn't got that reputation with the officials?
It's controlled aggression, though, isn't it?
It's got to be controlled.
I think the question that is good to ask is, will Campbell be a Stingray come 2014? I think that's a good question to ask.
Well, that's a wait and see, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think to look at the games themselves, though. I mean, Jeff Hutchins was saying his side was very, very lucky to get 4 points this weekend. 2 1-goal victories, so 2-1 in Hull, a 3-2 victory back in Dundee on Sunday night.
It's what we talked about last week, isn't it? Hull obviously just haven't quite.
They always seem to be losing by just the one
odd
goal.
Better to be lucky than good.
Yeah.
Some coaches will take luck over performances sometimes.
True, but I mean, I think if you're a Stingrays player, I mean, if you're still Van Cloutier, you're going to be tearing your hair out because it's like, what have I got to do? What have I got to do to win a game? Because they're losing by just small. I mean, we've got a tweet
Score
here.
more goals than the other team.
Well, true. Yeah. But got a tweet here that may shed some light on it from Dave Smith, old Scrappy again, old fan. He says, Maury Hansen will speak about the off-ice incidents. I will just say that Bacala is amazing. The Dundee netminder, again, coming out of the weekend with all the plaudits, and he seems to just be going from strength to strength.
Yeah, he does. I mean, and he was certainly enjoying the Campbell incident. If you watch the video, he's right up at the plexi having a good look.
But I think what's interesting, though, is just if you go back there, just to Alistair Neil there, is that Dundee Stars would have thrown away those games last season, and then he puts Campbell was an absolute tool last night, but we've just mentioned that. But that's very interesting, the fact that, he says Dundee Stars would have thrown that away last season. So
Well, they gave
And that's the
momentum.
sort of thing we were saying about Panthers this time last season.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I think the thing with Stars is they're winning these games. They're getting the momentum. They're 4 points
It's
clear
confidence.
at the top of the league.
Yeah.
So regardless of what happens, that's a weekend, at least a weekend's cushion they have at the top.
They've played more games than
they have.
other
Yeah,
teams.
they played more games than anybody else in the league. But but you've
You still won them, mate.
Well, yeah, you've got the points on the table, haven't you?
What would you rather have, the points
Yeah,
or the
exactly.
games in hand?
I'd rather have the
Exactly.
points.
Something else we've
any
discussed
day
at
of the
length.
week, yeah. So a quick brush over some of the other results from the weekend. Steelers 3, Blades 2. Steelers finally get a win at the arena.
They're
albeit
back.
in overtime. Oh, they're back.
They're back. World
They're
beaters
back.
again.
Got a tweet here.
Turn the corner.
Got a tweet here from Alex Smith, Steelers Smith 88 on Twitter. Key was finally playing a full 60 minutes. Doyle and D much more solid. Things look much more promising. And they're back.
They're back.
They're back.
Yeah.
Wowzers.
Another one from CS fan Sean Lewis. I saw Frank Doyle stop a few pucks. That was most exciting. I don't think he's too well liked in Sheffield at the moment. I think he's got a lot to prove.
Yeah, but he's obviously not a bad netminder, otherwise Cardiff wouldn't have gone for him in the first place, and Sheffield wouldn't have gone for him.
True.
You know, it's just, I think...
And a lot of the time, a goalie can only do so much.
to signal to single a goal. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. You know, Doyle out. What about the rest of the team?
It's
you
an
know,
easy target,
defence
isn't
starts at the top.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to defend as a team, you know. So
you
your
defend from the
forwards...
front.
Yeah, exactly. Your forwards have got to start defending, and he's been left open a lot of times. So, you know, he's obviously had a good game that game. So.
Fife with a shutout against Edinburgh on Saturday night in the Challenge Cup game, 5-0. I think that will give them a bit of confidence because they've not been scoring many, Fife.
Yeah.
And Andrew Birrell, Colorado, the flyer.
Easy for you to say.
Fife dominant on Saturday, played well as a team and really good to see us finding the net a few times.
Yeah.
And I think that was important for them to gain that confidence. And of course, remiss not to mention the fact that they had their Legends game last week.
Yeah,
75 years on, that's some achievement.
Yeah,
A
there
team going for
was
70.
some names on there that I've forgotten about. Ron Plum.
Yeah, blimey. I mean,
And Doug Smale, I think.
Yeah, Doug Smale
Dave
playing.
Stojanovic.
Yeah, I know. But we remember those sort of really, really old Five sides. I mean, the line of Czechs that came down to our old place, they were just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
You won't remember this.
No, back in the day.
Probably before you were born, actually.
Probably.
Not far off.
No, I don't know. I'm halfway to 75 now. But there you go. But no, I mean, fair play. You know, and I think what was good about that is you saw the whole sort of what you'd class as the hockey community.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
celebrate that 75 years. Fair play to them. And what a great thing to do as well is to actually put that event on.
Yeah.
And to have that game and to bring, you know, everybody. You know, and that's where what I like about that, and what I think something like that event brings is, like the young fans that are going to the Fife games now, they get to learn a little bit about the past.
Yeah.
You know, they get to learn a little bit about the
history.
team that they're supporting.
Because you know, because you've been going that long.
Yeah.
And the same, you know, to a slightly lesser extent with us, the history is important. The history, you know, the history is what, you know, what we've got, what keeps us there. You know, it's the
what
you
the
know,
club's built on.
Yeah.
Really, isn't it?
Yeah. And you walk into Five ring because they've still got the old ring. Yeah. And it drips off the walls, the history. Well, mixed in with everything else. But you know, it's like, I mean, they've got their own museum. I'd love to see us have one in there, but you know, I don't see it ever happening. But you know, and you just walk around there.
You feel the history.
And looking at the pictures, and think, yeah, I remember him. Dirty little so and so. Yeah.
I just hope they're around for another 75 years, and you know, and more teams can celebrate 75 years.
I think with that fan base, that's not going to be a problem. It's
in some
the
way, shape, or
the
form.
ring lasts another 75 years, I think. But I love the place and love.
Not sure they've done anything to the car park in 75 years.
Probably not. And finally, we'll round out with Caps against Devils. The Devils winning 3-1. Caps can't buy a win at the minute, but that was an important victory for the Devils.
It was. I mean,
which we will talk about a little later.
Yeah, coming off the Saturday night loss to the Giants as well, which you missed. Yeah, you know, so it
Sean
was,
talked about that earlier.
He did.
On the video.
But you've not mentioned it in this bit. That's why I'm
Sean
trying to bring
talked
it
about
up.
it.
So anyway, yeah, coming off that, a big loss at home. Coming off the big loss at home to the Giants, they did, and no offence to the Caps fans, but at the moment you need a win. There's nobody better to be playing. I'm sorry, but I worry for them.
Yeah,
they're losing this many this early. The longer it takes them to get any sort of win,
it becomes a rut.
bigger problem.
Well, where do you see the next win coming from? That's the thing.
Everybody else is improving. Everybody else is playing well and getting wins. I mean, I suppose you could say
Hull, maybe.
But Hull have been keeping games really, really tight.
Tight, yeah.
Oh well,
it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle, big struggle.
Anyway, as I mentioned earlier, you saw Sean and Sam, Hull and Cardiff correspondents there. If you would like to be a correspondent for your team, please get in touch with us. The Twitter address is on the screen now. We'd really like to have a correspondent at every other Elite League team. Obviously, apart from the Panthers, because we will cover those games as they're the ones we go to. Sorry about that. Yeah, but if you're a Caps fan, Clam fan, Sheffield fan, Coventry fan, please get in touch. We'd love to have regular correspondents giving their reports every single week.
Come along and show us up.
Yes,
basically.
Well, yeah.
Send them in, please.
Anyway, of course, we have missed one game out, which was the Sunday game between Blaze and Panthers Challenge Cup game at the Sky Dome. Of course, there was a webcast that we watched, and we got a camera on myself and Paul as we watched the game. Here's some of the highlights.
It's not highlights.
Oh, get in! Was that a touch? Do you think?
I think Salters must have tipped it in front. Yeah.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah. Great goal. Here we go. Fight. Oh.
Henley's throwing.
Emery's beating.
Yeah.
Emery's beating quite substantially.
Did Harvey throw?
I don't think Harvey got a punch in there.
No.
Do not think Harvey got a punch in there.
Oh, nice pass. Blacko.
Oh,
yes, beautiful.
What a finish.
Beautiful.
What a finish.
I mean, what's the pass? It's the pass that makes it.
Anderson.
From Anderson, straight.
Blacko
all alone.
What was he doing?
All alone.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, Blaze defender were more intent on taking the net off than taking
4-0.
because he couldn't get there. It's 4-0, isn't it?
4-0.
It's 4-0.
Oh, yes! Is that Anderson?
I don't know. Links might be.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. Just.
Oh,
he's got all the time in the world. Just
that
goes
was a beauty.
Great shot.
So me and Paul getting a little overexcited at
Fight.
Yes, all right. I like a fight. Who doesn't?
Not that much.
You were supposed to be with us, mate.
I was, yeah. Unfortunately, I got injured playing sport on Saturday, and I was unable to drive yesterday. So.
When did the tiddlywink get lodged then? But you did watch the webcast at home,
I
didn't
did,
you?
yes, I did. I paid the £8 and I watched the webcast.
So we'll look at the webcast in a bit, because I can imagine Paul Wheeler and Kimberley are like glued to the screen right now.
Yeah,
We're going to
the
discuss
more we put it off, the longer they have to watch it. That's good for the figures.
Yeah, very true.
So on to the game itself, and that was as dominant as a Panthers performance I've seen all season.
For a lot of the game, yeah. I mean, I thought
They
first
had
5 minutes they were better than us, and then I think from there until the end of the second, it was all us. I don't think I've ever been more worried at 4-1 up.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
Then
They were. Yeah.
If that goal,
the one that they punched
that
in,
Henrik, scored with his hand, had been given, and I've seen him given. That I think the last 10 minutes could have been a lot hairier than they actually were.
I think Michael Hicks deserves some credit there, because he was Johnny on the spot there. He saw it and he waved it off straight away.
But by the same token, like it was said on the website, it was obvious to everybody.
True.
In the Sky Dome. So, mind you, we've been at games where the only person has been the referee who's seen it, but not Hicks. That night he had a decent game. I thought
he had
stuff that he had one or two. Dodgy things to call, and called them pretty well.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Give them praise when due as
absolutely,
well. It's
easy
slag them off when possible.
But
if they have
it's
a good
easy
game,
to round them against the boards in only 6 games, isn't it?
But I think the thing is we've talked about Panthers all season and said they've not clicked. They're winning, but they've not clicked. Last night, I think we saw what can happen when they click.
Yes.
It seemed. I think the rest of the league will be scared if they watch that performance.
Well, Corey Nielsen's in the paper today saying that. I mean, I'm not about that, but he's saying in the paper today he was a lot happier with that performance.
If you listen to his interview on Panthers website as well, he says that it was more. That's what he's been looking to see. Whether other people will be that scared, I'm not really that sure, to be honest. What I would say is that is the best.
One game.
That's the best game I've seen Panthers play all season.
Oh yeah, without doubt.
The question, but anybody can play well one game. True. What you'd like to see is that be a bit of a kickstart to playing well. Let's not forget that we've been playing poorly and got results. So it was nice to see. And what I was pleased to see was that it seemed as like a Panthers performance and a Corey Nielsen performance, as in how he gets his teams to play.
I think Paul and Ed mentioned that on the webcast as well. They said it was very much the sort of Corey Nielsen team that came and they were clinical in front of the goal. And I think that was the difference.
I think you're right. I think it was the difference. To be honest, in both games, at times over the weekend, that in front of the net we were just that bit more clinical. I mean, if on the night, if Coventry could have hit the net, the target more with their shots, I think it could have been a very different scoreline because they had a lot. They had a lot
go wide.
A lot wide.
But I still think Kaywell, he made some
had a good
great
game.
saves.
Both nights.
Kaywell probably was the contender for my MOM on Sunday night, to be honest, because I think he saved us again at times.
Well, we couldn't pick it, could we?
No. I thought it was very. With all due
difficult.
respect to Franny, I wouldn't have gone Franny.
No,
personally,
it wasn't mine. I would have gone. I thought
just upset his parents.
Brilliant game.
Well, yeah, I think as well that going back to the Corey Nielsen type of performance, the forecheck though was immense.
It was very aggressive.
Immense.
That is where it started. Every time, all night.
That is where it started.
And I think I said it. I said it at the start of the season. Is that how aggressive, even on the penalty kill, the forecheck is really aggressive.
I think but there was one point in that game, and I think the commentators they say it. I'm sure it was Boxall and Lakovic actually were in the Coventry's zone and proper That's that is, you can say, oh well, you're 3 goals or however what the score was at the time, I can't remember, to be honest, but you can say, well, you can afford to do that, but you necessarily can't, because if they score a goal in momentum, you never know.
And I think we sing Robert Lakovic's praises a lot on here, and rightly so for his goal scoring, his foreplay, but on the penalty kill, I think he's been excellent this season.
I like us
really
on the penalty kill this season. I think in previous seasons and including last season, we were very good. Our penalty teams are very good, but I think we, especially on the penalty kill, we've been very strong this season. I think, and that's a good base, and that's where you can win and lose games as well. So,
well, how many times do they say that games are won and lost with special teams?
Yeah, exactly.
One other thing I want to bring up just from the game itself was I think the Chris Murray cross-check on Harvey.
Yes.
Now, we've not heard anything whether Cardiff have asked for any supplemental.
Well, I hope Cardiff. I hope Cardiff, because they went at the game. You never know. They need a win.
Whether Coventry have asked for any supplemental discipline, and I hope they haven't, because I think if it does, I think he could be in trouble.
Is there a time limit on the masking?
I think it might be 24 hours. I'm not sure. I don't.
Might be all right then. This show's going out on Friday, just in case. Next week. Yeah. Yeah. It's heat of the moment.
He was protecting his player, but you don't protect him like that.
No,
he went straight in. It was dangerous hit.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and if he did get a ban, I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't argue it. To be honest.
No, me neither.
I think the officials did all they could though in that situation.
I think there was a lot going off.
There was a hell of a lot going off, and fair play to both obviously Hicks and the linesman in that they did the best with what that was good, what they could do. Sorry, and the problem with that is, yes, it was poor, but it was always going to get the reaction that it got as well, wasn't it? Unfortunately, that kind of hit leads to what we saw happen afterwards, and
well, it was similar to what happened in Hull.
Yeah.
Wasn't, you know, the big hit like that. But
And if it was on the other, sorry, go on.
it does look though that like Jonathan Boxhill has been spending a bit too much time with his roomie Henley, doesn't it?
Well, fair play to him. No,
He got stuck in.
Yeah,
And he took Ryan Janand out. Well, as a trade-off, as good as Boxhill is, Janand's
I think
they're a dangerous player. And
it was the co-commentator with Paul,
Ed
Kimberley,
they've said that was very clever of what Boxhill did. You know, Harvey was out of the game. Then they've took, you know, their leading goal scorer, I believe, out of the game as well.
Yeah, well, leading goal scorer in the Elite League.
Yeah.
That's what the webcast kept telling us. But, I mean, you know, I'm not entirely sure that, you know, that Boxhill was being that clever about it. It just happened to be the person he got tied up with in the melee. And a pushing and shoving.
From a Panthers point of view, it was very clever to remove.
It was good for us.
Those people from the game.
You know how deliberate it was. I'm not sure.
And I think the Panthers obviously got the momentum from it because he scored twice straight after that happened.
I mean,
and
some good goals in that.
That
was a beauty.
It was.
Yeah, I thought he
as
played
we
well all game.
rather embarrassed ourselves by showing.
Yeah.
I thought he made a few mistakes, but I thought overall his game was top notch.
Yeah. Made a mistake against Braehead.
All right. Let's move on to the webcast itself then. So £8 it was. £8. I thought.
I paid nothing. I watched it. It's his ass.
I thought
through the window.
I thought that the commentary was excellent all the way through.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with Ed Kimberley as the colour commentator. I thought he gave some really good insights into the game. Paul Wheeler was as good as he always is. He obviously does his research and does before each game. But one thing I did like about it, there was very, very little Blaze bias coming through.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you knew who they supported. You could tell that, but it wasn't. You know, we've all seen them where it's been biased to the point of nausea. They've you know, we talked about it last week. They're completely missing the target market.
Yeah.
But no, I thought it was fair. They were giving a lot of respect to both sides.
Yeah.
You know, where it could be very easy to say it was always lucky or whatever, but no, you know, they appreciated the game. I think rather, you know, more than, you know, who was actually playing.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, it can be probably just demoralising as a fan, as they both are at the place. Seeing your team getting a bit of a shellacking, but they were professional. They gave credit where it was due, and you know, fair play to them. I thought they both did an excellent job.
Well, I was just going to say, because I had a bit of a Twitter conversation with Paul after last week's show and webcasts and stuff like that. But I would just say, from me personally, you know, I would gladly pay that £8. It was, and back to one point is the biasy. You know, they weren't biased. It was it wasn't like us three people trying to act as if they know what they're talking about. You know, they actually did know what they were talking about.
What they were talking about.
Yeah. But no, it was, and the thing was, what I liked, yes, you know, we missed a goal.
We missed a goal because.
But in that situation, that's going to happen sometimes. You know, they're not always. You know, there is the odd glitch and stuff like that. But what I liked was they replayed it.
Replayed it. Yeah, there was no argument. Yeah,
you know,
and the thing is, apart from that, it was perfect.
Exactly.
Never.
That's all we asked for.
I think that's the thing. I think anybody would happily pay
the basic that you have to be able to provide.
Just going back to to the special topic last week about webcast. If it's you know, the odd mistake, fair enough. You know, pay the £8. It's commentators fantastic. You know, they weren't, and like you just said, when the score got to 4-1, 5-1, you could have easily give, you know, and in your voice you sound as if
lose it, but
don't want to be there, but they didn't. You know, fair play to them, and well worth the £8. Glad I bought it. You know, and cracking job, guys. Really good.
I'm not going to commentary.
Definitely.
So as well, the way they're obviously moving towards trying to make it more like a television broadcast.
Yeah.
They've got the replays.
I
was impressed with that.
And also the Twitter interaction with people who were watching was really good as well.
And I mean, it would be nice to have a clock, but that's difficult. That's difficult, you know. So getting, you know, starting and stopping, getting it as an overlay. But you know, that'd be nice to have. But for £8, I don't think you can complain, to be honest.
No, I mean, we say, look, what it say? It would probably save me 30 30 odd quid.
Well, I ummed and ahed about going, to be honest. I was going to go, but then I couldn't drive anyway, so I couldn't go. So there you go.
So, marks out of 10?
I'd give it a solid 3. Only joking, Paul. That's for you.
It's like appearing with Craig Revel Horwood, isn't it? On any number of levels.
7. No, I'd give it a solid 8.
Professionalism, though.
Solid 8. Oh yeah,
I'd give it a solid 8.
I'd be about that. Yeah.
8, I'd say 8, 8.5, I think.
Yeah, around that.
So
Yeah, we probably wouldn't have given us many points if we'd lost. That's one, but yeah.
But, Blaze Webcast, give it a watch.
Yeah.
So our hot topic this week is the ultimatum, or not, that has been supposedly served to Cardiff coach Gerard Adams. We've asked our Cardiff correspondent Sean Phillips to take us through it.
I just want to talk about the ultimatum issued to Gerard Adams by, or the alleged ultimatum given to Gerard Adams by Paul Regan and MD Brent Pope. Obviously, the South Wales Echo and Wales Online, Terry Phillips, reported that the ultimatum was given, and then the Devils reacted to it the day after with a statement saying that they definitely did not, and that ultimatum was not a word that was used. My thoughts on that: I think that Terry Phillips has got nothing to gain by, causing a stir, which I don't think he does, because he's always supported the team. He's done a great job of giving the Devils proper press when we've deserved it and won trophies, which hasn't been a lot recently, but we've definitely had our fair share in the South Wales Echo. So I don't think he has a reason to lie. The only people who have things to lose in that are Paul Regan and Brent Pope. But I think that Gerard's position as the coach should be maintained at least until the end of the year. It's his testimonial year. It'd be very immoral to get rid of him. He's been a great servant to the club. If you look at people who've done good things for the club, I think Gerard Adams comes a lot higher in there than Paul Regan, given that he's maintained our playoff record under extreme circumstances last year with injuries and things like that. So I think that Gerard should stay at least until the end of the year. And I think really that the key thing to remember in this is that Paul Regan's statement didn't once mention the injury to Dan Costa. I think that's had a lot of impact on our game plan going forward, and we haven't scored enough goals, in my opinion. Our D hasn't been that bad, but truly, I just think that really we didn't have our September to sort of gel together because we weren't playing by our game plan. So our October is going to be our September, where the guys, sort of learn the style that we were meant to play when Gerard recruited the team, and we were going to have Dan Costa in net as opposed to Joe Myers. But as I said, this October is really our September. So to say that we need to be fourth by the end of October seems a bit unnecessary, to be quite honest with you. Whether that is the case, whether it happened or whether it didn't, it shouldn't have happened, and Gerard's position shouldn't be threatened because of an injury that he can't control. Paul Regan can't control the results, Gerard Adams can't control the injuries, so I understand that the fans are frustrated and the performances haven't been great, but we haven't had the chance to adapt to the style that Gerard's wanted us to play to. And yeah, in G we trust. Back to you.
So that's Sean's view there. It seems that there's a lot of confusion and mixed messages coming out of Cardiff last week.
Yeah.
So.
I
would like an opinion. That is what you're here for.
Oh, really? I didn't realise that. I don't know. It happened again last year. Didn't it? When we talked about it on the show, probably pretty much similar timing, really. I imagine not many games into the season.
Absolutely, yeah.
Quite frankly, it's a joke. They lost Costa to injury, and you're playing a backup or somebody you brought in who doesn't know your systems as well. You're always going to struggle, and I just wonder what Regan's motivation is behind it all, because it's almost, you read that, and it's almost like I've put more money in, I've done this, I've done that. None of it's my fault. It looks like he's trying to heap it all squarely on Gerard Adams' shoulders. It's almost as though he's trying to force him out.
Yeah, but one thing I found very, very strange is the fact that the Wales Online article came out, and then very shortly after there was almost a retraction article, which more or less said the same thing.
Yeah.
But
it looks like they didn't want that information got to Wales Online somehow, and they didn't want it to get out.
They're a newspaper. They're going to report that sort of
Of course
thing.
they are. Of course they are. And it's
like Sean said,
it's not. Yeah, it's naivety on Cardiff's part, thinking they wouldn't. You know, but I mean, how can you take a press release seriously that describes Brent Pope as a possible player coach?
Well, I mean,
coach, yes. Don't get me wrong. Coach, yes. But player coach, Brent, really?
No, not. I mean, I know he was playing for the ENL Cardiff team maybe last season before, but
It's a heck of a different level, John.
Oh, of course it is.
I think what you need to ask is, though, you know, look, like as I said, 2 years running now, a so-called ultimatum has been made. Yes, that was so-called. You know. If you're Adams and Neil Francis, how's that got to make you feel?
Well,
you know,
exactly.
I mean, as much as you know, Adams, I'm pretty sure, you know, I don't know the bloke, but I'm pretty sure he wants to win with Cardiff. You know, so he's not going to just walk away lightly, is he? Let's be honest. But how's that going to make you feel personally? And that's where, you know, Paul says about motivation. You know, what's his motivation behind it? Obviously, Paul Regan, in his own way, has a certain way of trying to motivate his team. And let's you know, owners.
So does Gerard Adams.
Owners, well, yeah, very true. But owners are they're going to say that I've put the money in. That's owners in any sport. That is how owners are. I put the money in. I want results. That's it. I don't care about this or whatever.
But
I'm the owner.
it's the length he
results.
seems to be going to distance himself from the performances.
But it's the mixed messages. It's like, no, I do not want to make any coaching changes. Yes, I will make coaching changes if results don't improve considerably. And then later on, I remain 100% committed to Gerard, Neil and the players.
Because that's what he thinks the fans want to hear.
Yeah, it seems that from the Wales Online article that Gerard Adams does have the backing of his players, which is very important for him. And I think if he's got the player backing, that's half the backing.
Yes. Well, we mentioned that with Finnerty earlier on, didn't we? It seems that they're playing for him this season. So, but I believe at the time of this release, you know, Coventry were 0-5 at home. Cardiff. I've got your syndrome. No, sorry, Cardiff were 0-5 at home, and the problem is,
it's the
if your home
results,
form
isn't it?
and your home results aren't great, then that adds even more pressure on the away results. You know, not saying they're not as important, obviously, but you are expected to win at home. And the thing was, though, you know, a lot of people predicted Cardiff to be up there at the top and mixing it, you know, with some of the boys this season. And the problem is when that expectation is there, you get a very bad start.
But
even more
losing their first choice netminder for so long, real bad time for it to happen as well at the start of the season.
You know, if they'd had a bad start and there wasn't a reason why, with, let's say, for example, Sheffield, you know, haven't had the best of starts, and they've had a few injury problems, but not losing your number one netminder. I mean, that's pivotal.
It's not a one-man team.
To be honest,
It's not a one-man team. But you name me a position where losing a player has as much of an effect.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
You know, there is, because you know there is only one netminder.
It just makes everything a lot harder.
I agree, but if that was the case, and you lose your netminder, you're going to lose games. Then you haven't really got a sport or a team, have you? You know, they've made some big statements. You know, Cardiff, they've got Matt Myers back. You know, that's a big statement. One of the best British forwards in the game. You know, and has been for many years. But also, you know, re-signed, you know, decent players from last season.
Matt Faulkner, he's
exactly.
goal
Just
machine.
going to mention him. They've got a lot of decent. You know, they've got some good.
I like him.
Exactly. They've got some good young Brits there as well. Yes, we've already said that Lacosta is probably one of the best netminders in the league this season.
But why didn't
they
replace? Why did it take them so long to replace them?
Did they know? Yeah, but
if we were in a similar situation with Kowalski, we've got a follower in.
He obviously didn't like what I was saying because he was just going to come and sting me. But there you go.
It's one of our regular viewers, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Had enough.
If we were in a similar situation with Kowalski, we'd be expecting us to replace him almost within days. As soon as we knew got an idea of how long it was going to take, but
Do they have
how
the
long
money?
did it take before that's it.
Well,
before they brought Blaze in?
Do they have the money?
Wow, that's the
That's
$1 million
the-
question going into their new arena. But well, I think this one, something to keep an eye on. I think because I think this may.
Well, it's gonna run and
this
run,
is
isn't
going to
it?
run for a few months.
Yeah, come back this time next season. It'll be happening again, probably. If not
Never
sooner.
know.
Going to have a quick run through of the games that are coming up this week, and a big one at Sheffield on Wednesday night.
Big game.
Big game. Steelers against the Stars, and you know what? This time last season, I think there's only been one way I'd have called that, but.
You're going for a Steelers win then tonight?
I don't know how to call that one on Wednesday. Really don't.
I mean, we talked about. Sorry about that. We talked about start our game, get ours and Sheffield game up there against Stars. As a test. Then they came through those with flying colours. Not been so good on the road. Once they're having to travel midweek, all that do them a disservice. But I think we'll know a bit more about their credentials come Thursday morning.
I agree. I think that could help them though, being at midweek to a certain degree.
And at Sheffield as well, because that's going to
Smaller
It's
rinks.
a smaller rinks, more what they used to.
not smaller ice surface, but it is a smaller ring. And
Yeah,
it's
crowd-wise.
going to be a
Yeah.
similar, probably a similar atmosphere,
Yeah.
similar setup to what it is at Dundee. So, but
I just think Wednesday, it probably could go one of two ways, but
It
they've
won't
had
be a
couple
draw. So yeah, it's going
yeah,
to.
very true. But the fact that they've had maybe they'll have a couple of practice sessions maybe beforehand, travel down, then they'll know that they've got a couple of days rest until the next game. You can sort of you can lay your bodies on the ice there, can't you? Knowing that you've got a couple of days to recover. I actually think it'll be a humdinger.
I think it'll be a good game.
And
as well.
I wouldn't like to call it necessarily, but I'd go overtime personally. I really do maybe think overtime. I think there'll be a couple of goals there as well.
I think Sheffield may be a bit on the up. They're getting injured players back. Stars still missing a couple through suspension. Struggled a bit at the weekend by all accounts. I think the Steelers may just shade. I don't think it'll be by much. I think it'll be 1 or 2 goals, but I think I will say Steelers win and hope that puts the kibosh on them.
What I would say is though, it's a great opportunity for Steelers to actually start getting on a bit of a roll here, isn't it? As well, that.
Sorry.
Well, yeah,
I'm not saying
but you
I
say
want
that,
to, but I'm just saying it is a good opportunity. But again, it could be the opposite.
Yeah.
It could be another kick in the
because
in the gangs.
because they've got to go to Giants
On Saturday.
on Saturday.
That's a huge game.
Yeah.
And obviously a little bit of extra spice added to that one with a certain video that came out over the weekend on Sunday,
to be honest,
which was very funny. I thought.
There's nothing wrong with the video. It's a perfectly humorous video.
I think it's been given more exposure by a certain person.
So
overreaction to it.
Who's that then?
That would be Mr. Sims, who went to Twitter to say how offended he was by it. It's like,
well,
I didn't see his tweet.
let's not go into those dark days. But has he never been offended? Has he never offended anybody before?
Well,
I'm sorry, but to come out and say, he was offended by that is, quite frankly, it's pathetic.
He's probably offended because they didn't think of an idea and
of it
make their own video.
Yeah, Giants did it first.
But what I would say is, if that's the case, then there'll be Big Doug will be, very offended. He'll rile his troops up to go and
it could be just the thing Sheffield need.
Go and, trounce
Seen it
some.
backfire before.
But what I would say is that will give the Giants, I imagine, a few bums on seats, a few extra bums on seats. It's very clever marketing from their point of view.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Does no harm really, is it? Let's be honest. It's just a
It's just another subway to throw in the crowd if there's a few more in.
We got a tweet from James McConville, which says David needs to simmer, methinks. Get over it with a smiley face.
See what he's done there.
I think he's got a good point
He
there.
has.
Right?
Yeah.
Look, it brings it. It adds extra spice to the game that was already a big game, and I tell you what.
The sort of thing that Sims has done time and time again.
Well, he's just jealous that he hasn't done it.
Exactly.
Let's be honest. But
Yeah.
I actually fancy a Giants win there.
I think you're right.
I think Giants,
I think so.
I really do.
I think Giants win on that one.
And I'm sure all the fans will be very happy about that.
So some of the other games, Clan playing Stars.
That could be a good game. Could be a good game.
Braehead, and I know that Ryan Finity earlier in the show when we interviewed him said that was a factor that this is their first home game since the first weekend of the season. So I think they'll be looking forward to getting back to Braehead Arena.
Their fans will be champion for that one. Really will.
Good game.
Devils Caps. Sorry, I can only see one result there, unfortunately.
I'll tell you what, though, if it goes the other way.
That's that ultimatum could be.
You would maybe look at that and say there's no. Well, you would say all the pressure is on Cardiff, to be honest, wouldn't you, in a way? But but then it isn't because anybody. But it's
always going to be on Cardiff in this situation, regardless of who they're playing. Exactly, regardless of who they're playing. So, is there anybody? I said it before. Is there anybody better at the moment to be playing if you're in that particularly bad situation? I tell you what, it does look a good game though. Fife versus Hull.
Yeah. That could be
go either way.
However, we obviously don't know what the situation is. The situation with regards to the bans are, so that could have an effect on Hull on Saturday night. I'll leave the Panthers games till last. So looking into Sunday, Steelers against Devils. Devils, of course, won in Sheffield a couple of weeks ago. So that they may have a bit of confidence going into that game. And of course, Steelers having to get back from Northern Ireland.
I personally think that all depends on previous results on the night. I really do. I think that really does. It's who's got the confidence, who's maybe feeling a bit battered and bruised. Like you say, it was 1-1 in games last time, pretty much. It seems that they pretty much know each other's teams and how they work, and that's why I would say that it really does depend on the previous night's results, and even Wednesday's fixture with the Steelers coming off that. 3-game week for Steelers. They don't want to be. They don't want to lose 2, do they? Put it that way.
No.
So it's going to take its toll. But it's another great game. Another big game.
Like Blaze Giants. That could be another good game.
Depends which Blaze. I mean, if it's the Blaze of last night,
which part of last night?
The majority of last night.
If they come
the Blaze from 5-10 minutes in the third period.
If they come out playing like that, that'll be a game.
I tell you what, it's nice to see though some big heavyweight games though. And not just the one heavyweight game.
To be fair though, Aaron, I think the way that the teams have improved, with probably the exception of the Caps, no disrespect, but the other 9 teams have improved, and I think we are getting these good close games between all teams now. And I think you said, I know exactly what you mean about heavyweight games, Blaze Giants, Panthers, Steelers. You are going to think of them as but you've got Steelers Stars, where we're talking about that as a major game. It's a major game because that's exactly what it is, and which is great. Which is great for the league now. I think I think it's fantastic that these teams have bulked up. And I know it's a cliche, but on any given night, any other team can beat another one.
But if we're talking about great games, are we including Caps versus Clan in that?
Just consider me putting me in place there. Anyway, thanks very much, teacher. Jesus.
Consider yourself told.
I'll go and stand in the corner in a minute with my hands on my head.
If you want to. Caps v Clan again.
Away win. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Right.
I really wish.
Let's just. We'll have to
there's going to be a counterpoint there.
Right.
Fair enough.
When do you actually think the Caps are going to win a game?
I don't know.
It'd be surprising. They'll do something. Remember last season? I think they was in a similar situation last season. Then in December, they beat Sheffield, and then on the Wednesday, they beat us, Sheffield and Belfast in succession, and kick-started them, and they made the playoffs. And I think it'll be a surprise result like that. They'll beat a so-called bigger team.
I think they'll get a surprise result. I can't see them making the playoffs because of what we've been talking about. The way that a lot of the teams have improved.
Depends what the momentum shift does to them.
I mean Dobron coming in.
Yeah.
Once he's got settled, got used to things, is that going to help? They're hoping so, but
I like Hart. I think Hartman's a decent coach, but I just think he's
just not got the resources to play with.
Have got,
I just think they've got to win a game somewhere. And
when did they next play in Nottingham?
you know, how long do we stand here and go?
Well, not long, I hope.
Something to get.
I agree. One game, they've got to turn it around.
Yeah. And they, I think they will.
To say that they won't.
I think.
Are you inferring they've got to take it one game at a time, Aaron?
I would never do a cliche like that.
That's all right.
But I think it's one of those things. It's like, as long as this goes on, we'll always favour their opposition at the moment, the form that they're in. However, they may turn it around like they did last season. Things will change. So to finish on, we'll look at the Panthers games, both Challenge Cup games, which
By the way, Dundee fans, I'm going for a home win against Fife that he's ignoring again.
Oh, sorry, I missed that one. Stars v Fife, which is that's a big rivalry as well. So the Dundee Ice Arena will be rocking that night, I think. Cliche. It will be.
It will indeed. And there'll probably be
Challenge Cup
game misconduct in there as well.
Oh yeah.
Well, it is Fife that are playing, so
exactly, and it'll probably be Cowan reference. So there you go.
Oh, the Fife fans will love that. Panthers. So Blaze on Saturday at the NIC Challenge Cup game. The rematch.
You like that?
Shouldn't have given him that microphone.
You like that?
And then away at Hull on Sunday. I will make a bold prediction. I think Dan Green will start the game in Hull.
And I think that you're probably right there, to be fair. I think that's a fair call, to be honest. I mean, well, what I'd say is that
we've qualified, haven't we?
Yeah.
What I would say is that we want to finish as high as possible due to seeding.
That's very
but
true.
That depends on Saturday's result, to be honest. Maybe I think.
I can't see him starting. I think he might get time.
He'll get some good time, I think, this weekend.
I don't think he'll start.
I think he'll start the game.
One of you will be right, anyway.
Well,
yeah. But I think Saturdays will be a good game. Actually, I'm looking forward to going to.
Yeah, well, Blaze are going to be looking for a reaction, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it'll be a good game.
But what I would say is though, that's a Challenge Cup game on the Saturday for the Blaze. It's a league game for them on the Sunday. So do you? Where do you?
Maybe.
I know. You know, every coach will go. We take one game at a time, and the next game is the most important. But
they're not going to want to lose to us twice in a week.
Yeah, exactly. You've got the factor of the performance from the previous game that we've just talked about earlier on. Is Challenge Cup something that Coventry should be aiming to maybe win this season? Is the league a little bit beyond them?
I think they should all.
There's a lot of factors, isn't there, that you have to take into account. So I do think it'll be a bit of a humdinger. Will Olsen be back?
No, he's out.
He's out for a while.
6 to 8 weeks. He's broken his hand. So.
Who won?
I thought watching.
Apparently, he was blocking a hook in overtime against Sheffield, and that's how he broke.
Just very quickly on Olsen, though. He's missed a lot. It seems to me, and I could be totally wrong in this, but he seems to have missed a lot of games against the Panthers over the last season.
He's usually from suspension.
Yeah, but it always seems that he's always there in his posh waistcoat and his dicky bow.
Apparently, yeah. Why did the camera show that? Yeah.
Well, yeah, but no, I do think it'll be a good game, and I don't know. It gives a chance from the Panthers' point of view to maybe try out a few new things. A few new lines, mix the lines up a little bit, and give some ice time to some more people.
We'll be taking the camera up to Hull, so me and Paul will be there. You going to Hull?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I've not been asked.
You're playing Tiddlywinks on the Saturday again.
Did you invite me to go to Hull with you?
It's up to you.
Did you invite me?
You're a grown man.
You can ask.
We're meant to be friends, everybody, but I'm not too sure, to be honest.
Off camera, yeah, you could come if you want.
Well, I might not want to be honest. I might just,
We will have the
I
camera.
might listen to my friends at NP Hockey Live.
Well, of course, there's a webcast if you're not going.
Do you not know my view on Webcast?
Can we
just a joke there.
Can we just think about audience retention here, gents? Close it out.
Yeah. So, yes, we'll be taking the camera to Hull on Sunday evening. So, Hull fans, Panthers fans down there, we'd love to hear from you on camera about the game. Student will be down there, yes.
We know. Emotional reunion for a certain person.
And I will be interviewing Jonathan Finnerty from their webcast as well, which will be shown.
Are you going to be on the webcast?
I'm probably not
again
on the webcast.
Oh, I'm not going to buy it then. I only bought it last time because you were going to buy
I'm
it.
actually going the other way. I'm interviewing them for a change. So yes, Jonathan Finity interview will be on next week's show. So I think that pretty much rounds it out for another week.
Well, you always say thank you to us for coming, so I'm going to say thank you for turning up tonight, John.
It's an absolute pleasure, Aaron. I wouldn't miss it
even
for
if
the
it was
world.
a little bit late. And thank you to you, Paul, as well.
And of course, once again, thank you to Gary Dinsdale for sorting out the
Yes, thank you very much, Gary.
And we will be back next week, of course, so we'll be reviewing all the games coming up at the weekend, and we'll be looking ahead to the Continental Cup, which will be taking place the next weekend at the NIC. So until then, goodbye.
Ta-ra.